Leicester Square for the premiere of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and the rain stopped, so it's great. But no, it's fun and it's exciting. Can't wait for people to see the movie. I can't remember a time I've ever felt so transported. Like he's really kind of created a time capsule for everyone, and it's pretty wild. It's fun. It was amazing. He just so clearly loves being on film sets, and his energy's kind of infectious. So it was just such a fun time, and I've always wanted to see him work. So yeah, I loved it.
This is a really exciting film, so it's good fun. But it's Tarantino, you know he's always bringing something fresh. It's just good fun. Yeah. He's the real deal.
We did this film as a passion project, and it's been the culmination of many years of Quentin Tarantino envisioning this world and this time period and created these amazing characters. And we don't get to see films like this very often. Mr. Tarantino always makes this incredible mosaic tapestry of things that rely on historical fact, but also fairy tale. He's one of the most singular, unique voices in the cinematic world right now. And anytime he calls, you know he's going to be doing something incredibly unique. I'm just proud to be, of service to him. We had this incredible backstory to our characters. We got to literally sit with Quentin and talk about the history of who these two men were. And to be able to work with somebody like Brad and fill these shoes of these characters that we kind of implicitly knew, having grown up in Los Angeles in this industry, we knew these relationships. He just makes it so incredibly fun, and he gives you so many reference points as an actor, and so many films to watch, so much history to look at. It's an absolute joy on set every day. He's an incredible actor. He's so easy to work with, and we so fit naturally into these characters. We kind of knew who these guys were implicitly.
What's the biggest reward for you about now this film is hitting cinemas, people are getting the chance to see it?
God, that's a really good question. I've had this movie in my head for about 6 years. So there's certain shots, like for instance, like the final shot in the movie, I've had in my head for 6 years. Wow. So to actually get it out of my head, get it on celluloid, and then have people respond to it the way they do, is pretty incredible. It's a fun experience to be me at this moment.
When you have these two actors that are kind of almost a bit like old school Hollywood with Leo and Brad, you want that chemistry to work, but do you know before you start rolling the camera if it is? Because it's pretty special to watch.
Well, that's interesting what you're saying, actually. I've never had, I think sometimes, maybe when it's a girl and a guy and it's got to be a romantic movie, they'll have a chemistry kind of thing. I've never done anything like that because I just figure if somebody's a really terrific actor, they can pretend. They're going to be terrific and it's all going to work out. I mean, I don't remember bending over backwards to put Margaret Qualley in the scene with Brad before I cast her. I just kind of figured it was all going to work out. And that was the case with all our examples right now. They were just terrific.
Why did you want to tell this story? Because I know it's a personal thing for you. You grew up in Hollywood, and this was part of your world. But why did you want to tell this story?
Well, it's interesting. It was just, I did like the idea of dealing with the town back in 1969, and I do have a memory of what it was like then. I mean, it's more of a memory piece than journalistic reporting. But I did have that, and then also I did like the idea of making a movie about Hollywood, and then about a time in Hollywood that it's now been enough time that there's not that many people who remember it that much anymore. I mean, if I did this movie 10 years earlier, most of the critics would have even been from that time period.
Yeah.
And that's kind of not the case now. And so that actually makes it a really, really interesting thing. But I did always have in my mind about at some point I would do a movie about Hollywood, a movie about making movies.
Was it easy to write?
Well, yeah, it kind of was. I mean, once I get going on my scripts, they all become easy to write. I mean, the problem, though, is I usually write way too much, all right? So I have to figure out what I can lose. I'm constantly in a situation where I write a script that's closer to a novel than it is a script.
Well, was this not going to start off as a novel?
Well, yeah, there's I've got the first 3 chapters written for the novel right now, frankly.
Right.
But the thing is, I usually write these big, unwieldy novels, and then I adapt them into the movie in editing.
We're at Leicester Square at the premiere of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's 9th movie. It was absolutely fantastic working with Quentin. He's a passionate student of film and is just happy to talk about movies endlessly without ego, and he's just happy to find anyone that will talk about them with him. No one knows as much about movies as he does. That countercultural moment in California, I think whatever age you are, I think everyone's aware of the rise of the hippie culture, acid culture, free love, and this movie sits perfectly at the intersection of a old-fashioned, old-school, sort of brill-creamed pompadour-wearing matinee idol as this new kind of grittier, dirtier countercultural movement seeped into the world, and in Hollywood and LA, obviously, he's used that as a prism to tell the story. So I just think it's a very interesting point in history.
It's very, very exciting. It's wonderful to be here at this home of all the big events and such a creative hub. And it's wonderful to be here for such a special event and surrounded by these beautiful, creative minds that brought this story to life. It's everything you can imagine. It's been absolutely outstanding, and I gotta tell you, he doesn't stop to think about how to make the story better. A lot of writers, they kind of are very precious about the words, because you can understand they've been thinking about it for a long time. But Quentin continues to write and rewrite till the very end, and continues to make the story better, which is absolutely outstanding. It's 1960s Los Angeles. It's a very transitional period for Los Angeles as a county, and also for the world of filmmaking. So to be able to see that, and to be able to see what our industry has been going through, is quite a special affair.
Working with Quentin Tarantino is not even a dream you ever dare to have. You just think like that's one of the most amazing filmmakers who's ever lived and will ever live, and I'm not going to have the chance to work with that person, so I'll just watch. So when it came up, it's obviously, as an actor, an honor. As a director, it's incredible to watch him and learn, and I have to say that I've really thought about the way he operates his set. It's about a time in American history, in cinematic history, where there's so much myth, and he brings so much life and humor and love to the story, and it's his most tender film and his most glamorous film, and it's just an honor to be a part of it. Being there, it was like the closest I'll ever come to time traveling. Everything was completely of the period, and I don't think I'll ever have an experience like that again. We are here in London right now, in basically the most happening place I've ever been. I've been in the UK for 3 months now, working on a new television show, and I have to say I've had some amazing experiences, but this may be the highlight.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey